You know, there are times I can kind of understand how content creators burn out. From the outside, YouTube might look fun, and in many ways it really is, but it's also a huge amount of work and effort with absolutely no guarantee of anything in return. Someone once said YouTube is like going to university for resilience, and honestly that feels painfully accurate sometimes. It really isn't for the faint-hearted. Just over 2 years ago, a strangely pizza-shaped YouTube channel obsessed with 80s and 90s pop culture released its very first video, and it got no views, like literally zero, for ages. I didn't know what I was doing back then, and if I'm honest, some days I still feel like I don't. But I kept going, and through a combination of passion, stubbornness, an unhealthy amount of late nights, and more resilience than I ever expected I'd have, the channel slowly started to find its feet. Because YouTube isn't a sprint, it's a marathon, and sometimes it feels more like an ultra marathon. So with the 2-year milestone now in the rearview mirror, this video is an honest look at what it's actually been like trying to build a channel from scratch. The reasons for starting in the first place, the algorithm battles, the things that worked, and the things that absolutely didn't. Hi, my name's Culture Slice. Well, it's not actually. And that's not actually me either. That's Charlie Sheen in the underrated 1986 classic The Wraith. Anyway, this is a very different kind of video to the usual stuff I make, which feels a little bit nerve-wracking, but also kind of cool. In my time on YouTube, I've been told that I'm AI, I've been sent a middle finger emoji that I didn't even know existed, and I've been called a British on numerous occasions, and only some of that is even remotely true. Today, that channel, Culture Slice, has over 4,500 subscribers and almost 300,000 views. And I've launched this second channel, Culture Slice Cuts, which has slightly less, but it's still early days. I'm not chasing down Mr. Beast anytime soon, or coming close to hitting KSI's monthly AdSense revenue, but I do have some skin in the game. So it probably makes sense to start at the start. What is Culture Slice? Where did it come from? And why did I start a YouTube channel in the first place? Behind every creator who dedicates themselves to YouTube, there is a story, and mine is full of ups and some pretty dark downs. If you want to jump straight to the YouTube lessons I've learned, just scroll to this time code. But I hope you'll stick around. My career had pretty much always been in the media, and I worked at the BBC in London and Manchester for 15 years. My dream had been to make culture documentaries for BBC Two and BBC Four, but that never ended up happening, though younger me would have still thought I'd absolutely made it working there. Then life kind of hit a roadblock, a pretty major one. I lost 2 very close family members, my mum and then my stepdad, in close succession, and if I'm totally honest, I struggled to cope with the fallout or the grief. Looking back, I was in a really dark place, so I handed in my notice and I left the BBC, without a clear plan of what was coming next. Over time, I found solace in writing and later editing videos about films and pop culture from the 80s and 90s. And creating the videos soon gave me the same kind of escape that watching the films had given me when I was growing up. I'd been obsessed with 80s and 90s pop culture ever since I was a kid, and as I got older, I was fascinated by the business that powered it too. I'd thought about giving YouTube a go for years, and as I formulated a concept for a full channel of my own, it became clear that it could be a good outlet for me personally, giving me a direction and value that I just didn't see in myself at the time. I also kind of needed that nostalgia hit and figured that maybe a few people watching might need it too. Beyond that, who knows? Perhaps it could become something bigger. I was making the kind of videos that I wanted to watch myself, and the type of thing that I'd never have gotten the chance to make at the BBC. So, Culture Slice happened, and in December 2023, months after setting up the channel, without much of a clue what I was doing, I uploaded my first video. The first of a 3-part documentary series covering that most important of subject matters, the 7 Police Academy movies. Obviously. In my first month on YouTube, the channel got a total of 253 views. Month 2, 17 views. 17. Not releasing another video until month 3 was definitely a mistake. In hindsight, launching with a single video and no backlog wasn't exactly strategic genius. I managed to get the second part of No Laughing Matter out in February, and I racked up 247 more views. So things were going swimmingly so far. But then in March, something strange started happening. YouTube started pushing the third Police Academy video, and we got 34,000 views in a month. I DM'd the video to Steve Gutenberg on Instagram, and he never replied, but that was okay, because at least somebody was watching. I thought I'd cracked it, I'd solved YouTube. Then, everything slowed down again, and that taught me lesson number 1. YouTube is not for the faint-hearted. I soon realised YouTube is not a linear journey. 1 or 2 hits does not instantly make a successful channel, and reality bit pretty quick. I made a video about 3 men and a baby, and a follow-up covering Homeward Bound and the glory days of talking animal movies. I loved making them, but neither broke through in nearly the same way. It soon turned out, in fact, I had not solved YouTube, and YouTube has spent a fair amount of time ever since reminding me of that fact. After some flops, I put out a compilation of the 3 Police Academy docs I'd made in one video. I wasn't expecting much, but it soon became my biggest release so far. Before too long, I'd hit the 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time needed to become a YouTube partner. I was monetized, and YouTube was paying me a very small amount of money each month. This felt like a big moment. I followed that success up by launching the series sequel Palooza and then dropping Lost Blockbusters of the 1980s, which YouTube pushed like mad. It got 1 million impressions, meaning it was promoted across YouTube 1 million times and went past 50,000 views fairly rapidly. That was it. Before the end of my first year, I'd done it. The algorithm, YouTube, making videos like a real genius, RIP Val Kilmer, whatever it was, I'd most definitely got it cracked. But YouTube has a funny old way of knocking you off your perch. I'd learned that YouTube growth wasn't really a ladder at all. It was more like trying to climb ladders on a construction site while Donkey Kong throws barrels at you. Which brings me nicely onto lesson number 2. You really do have to love it. When it comes to YouTube, you need to be a scriptwriter, a voiceover artist, a video editor, a sound mixer, a graphic designer, a data analyst, a channel manager, and all sorts in between. And then you get a copyright claim for using a clip of Home Alone 5 in a video about the Home Alone movies, so you dispute it but then can't earn any revenue from the video for 30 days before it's dropped because they just don't respond, and then… Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent here. Basically, you're spinning a lot of plates. After all that, once you've done it for one video, you need to dust yourself off and start the process all over again, whether that video has performed well or not. Speaking of which, by year 2, things felt different. After Lost Blockbusters, I thought my first 100,000 view video was just around the corner, and it, wasn't. Videos I was genuinely excited about suddenly struggled. Not total disasters, just less. Less reach, less momentum, less of whatever mysterious force had powered those earlier videos. And if you don't actually love the process of making videos and managing YouTube channels, moments like that will absolutely test you. They will, even if you do. Subscribers continued to climb, but it was more gradual than before. The new videos were performing in line with Culture Slice's first hits on key metrics, sometimes doing better, but the promotion YouTube was giving them would just kind of stop. Much faster than it had done previously, sometimes being pushed for days rather than weeks or months. Maybe I wasn't a real YouTuber after all. I was really trying with my videos too, putting my heart and soul into them. Though my videos and thumbnails are far from perfect, I felt like I was leveling up my production a bit more each time. Even if I'm the kind of person who takes the occasional negative comment to heart, the vast majority of comments was still really positive. The channel was 96% likes to dislikes. I launched channel memberships and people actually signed up, which I was incredibly grateful for, and still am. It was kind of mind-blowing really, but when it came to the algorithm, nothing much was clicking, and I'm not going to lie, it was tough. The thing is though, on YouTube, there is only so much you control. All while I was having my mini crisis of confidence, YouTube itself was changing, as it constantly does, prioritizing shorts and live and streaming heavily, taking space away from long form. More and more channels appeared, seeming to feature AI voiceovers and scripts, pushing out videos at the speed of light, while I slowly watched every film I covered taking notes. Much bigger and more established channels than mine were releasing videos talking about how YouTube was broken. I was far from blameless myself though. I made a sequel Palooza Karate Kid video covering the full franchise just as the new Legends movie was set to come out, and I was pretty proud of it. But I don't think I got the packaging right, or it just wasn't the right call subject-wise, and it bombed pretty hard. Other new releases didn't go that great either. I made a Lost Comedies video planned to line up with Halloween, but due to some fairly major life changes happening that same month, I didn't manage to get it out until 2 days before Halloween, which was maybe not the best idea for the video's performance. But there are more important things in life, I guess. Since then, I've tried to carry on learning and improving, avoiding my natural inclination to doubt or blame myself. I've had some hits and I've had some misses. Nothing has quite reached the heights of my most viewed videos, but a few have done pretty well, and I've been building a great positive audience, which I'm very thankful for. I've even had comments where people say they're glad I occasionally make mistakes, because it shows that I'm not AI. Maybe no videos will ever reach those heights of year one again, but maybe that doesn't have to happen to build a sustainable YouTube career. It takes years and years to make that work. Life usually finds a way, and you never know what is coming around the corner. Just like during the pandemic, when a lot of channels exploded in popularity as the world sat at home watching videos. Nowadays, there are more creators, more channels, more corporations betting on YouTube, and fewer opportunities to grab attention. I'm just one dude making videos by hand, competing against established channels, creative teams, and companies using AI to create content far, far quicker than I can. Maybe we missed the gold rush. Maybe we didn't. Who knows? But I'm not planning to stop making videos. Maybe ever. I really do love it, even the annoying bits. I genuinely think you have to survive long term, no matter what kind of painful data you see in YouTube Studio. Which brings me to my third lesson. Data is your friend, but also your enemy. YouTube Studio, the system that drives YouTube channels every step of the way from upload to analysis, really is an amazing piece of kit. Having worked in digital media for years, having something this good for free is crazy. Through Studio, I can see that my videos are watched everywhere from Singapore to Bolivia and Switzerland to Panama, but that most of my audience is in the UK and the US. I can see that 93% of my audience is male and 75% of it is aged 35 to 54. You can break down video performance in minute detail, and it can really inform your content planning process. But for smaller channels especially, YouTube Studio can also be a one-way ticket to taking a battering ram to your mental health. The temptation to refresh your stats, check your latest video's performance is very real, and to subsequently instantly get in your own head about the thumbnail or the title or your entire future on YouTube. I know I did it plenty of times at the beginning of Culture Slice, I still do occasionally now. When you're small, every graph suddenly feels like life and death for your channel, but most of the time there simply isn't enough data yet to draw massive conclusions. If I started over, I'd probably tell myself to stop refreshing every 5 minutes and focus on making better videos. Work in silence, like a ninja. Although I'd definitely be Rocky and not Tum Tum. Poor old Tum Tum. Obviously, I didn't tell myself to stop checking the stats constantly when I first started out, but I was trigger happy with telling anyone who might be interested about my channel's existence. And that was almost certainly a mistake, because it's probably best not to tell people about your channel. And not because sharing so openly was completely out of character for me as a natural introvert, at least not just because of that. When you start a channel, it's totally understandable to tell your friends, your family, the postman, that guy at the bus stop, whoever. But succeeding or failing in public is tough, and anyone can see your view and subscriber stats if they want to. If you're naturally self-conscious like me and passionate about what you do, that's kind of nerve-wracking. But it's also not the main reason why I wish I'd kept Culture Slice more secret at first. It all really comes down to our old friend the algorithm. Unless your friends and family are YouTubers themselves or are really into what you cover on your channel, they're unlikely to be your target audience. And every interaction with your content, every time someone starts your video and moves on or closes YouTube without watching much of it, it's a signal to the algorithm that your content doesn't need more promotion. If your auntie doesn't care about your ranking of the Police Academy movies, she probably isn't going to watch the whole thing. And I tried everything to make her. I really did. I soon learned that it's best to just let YouTube find your audience, and that forcing people to watch is ill-advised. Because when it comes to running a YouTube channel, it all ties together. Don't overanalyze, love the process, understand that it's a complex journey, and build in some sort of isolation for your own good. Don't listen to the YouTube gurus who tell you that you'll make £1 million in 6 months. Just dedicate yourself to making things that you are proud of, and who knows where you could end up. Just over 2 years ago, Culture Slice barely existed. Now thousands of people from all over the world have watched my videos about Police Academy and questionable sequels and talking animal movies and forgotten comedy flops, which still feels genuinely bizarre and pretty cool. There's a long way to go to achieve my goals, but I'm proud of myself so far, and as I always try to remember, cool runnings means peace be the journey. Who knows whether I'll be able to make YouTube a full-time gig, but 2 years in, I'm still here, still making videos, still learning, and still adding the occasional random Tom Selleck reference. And for some reason, as we'll be covering in the next behind the scenes video here on Cuts, I'm not only looking to implement a new strategy to grow this channel, but also planning to launch even more new channels soon, which suggests that I've actually learned absolutely nothing and potentially lost my mind. Who knows what adventures we'll have between now and the time Culture Slice becomes unprofitable. But if you want to follow the journey, then make sure you're subscribed. And if you want to check out one of our main channel documentaries, the link's on screen right now too. Thank you so much for watching.